All right, welcome to the Knicks Film School postgame show, powered by BetUS. It is our final postgame show of the preseason. Thank goodness. First and foremost, shout out to anyone watching. We got Liberty Lynx on, we got Yankees Guardians on. Of course, we had the Mets with a big win, go Mets, earlier tonight. But we are here to talk about the basketball team, which will begin games for real. Which I am not sure I am ready for. I was sitting there, little, not quite despondent, but a little disappointed after they were not able to pull this one out at the end. Although it was certainly a thrilling ending, and I was reminded of how brutal it is when these things actually count and you lose a close game like that. So for a game, I mean. Let's just say for anybody who did not watch this game, you did not miss much. The Knicks did not exactly cover themselves with glory on this night in Washington when the Wizards, a bunch of Wizards weren't playing. And then the halfway decent Wizards, or the notable Wizards, I should say, who did play in this game, started the game, they didn't come out in the second half. And the Knicks still lost this game. And this was not a matter of the bench just giving up a whole bunch of points or not being able to score or anything like that. This was the starters playing like you can't even really call it a brand of defense. Can't call it like a preseason brand of defense or like a YMCA level brand of defense or like first day of training camp brand of defense, because it was not any brand of defense. It was a stale, whatever the brand was, it had gone stale. This was a fairly atrocious defensive performance from especially the starters, but like in general, the Knicks team. I am happy to throw that pretty much out the window. They're a bunch of veterans. They know the season starts on Tuesday. They've had some nice moments defensively throughout the preseason. If they couldn't get it up tonight, as it were, for the Washington Wizards, I am not going to hold that against them. Provided that they come out with the requisite effort on Tuesday in the Boston Garden, because goodness knows they will need it against that basketball team. So yeah, I'm not going to focus too much on the quality of the basketball. I do think there is still a lot to take from tonight, mostly about the rotations, which were some interesting decisions made by Tom Thibodeau, and including who he put in and when he put them in. We do need to start though out of the gate with Mikal Bridges, because it is all anyone is going to want to talk about. And thank you, Andrew, for that correction. Yes, the arena in Boston, whatever the hell the name is. Mikal's shot in particular is all anyone is going to want to talk about. He came into this game 2 of 9 from 3 through 3 games in the preseason. By the amount of attempts he got up tonight, he certainly seemed like a guy that wanted to, maybe work out some kinks. Got up 10 threes. Of those 10 threes that he got up, he did not make a single one. People are going to be, and people are already, very worried about this. And I want to say at the outset, I have quite literally zero doubt in my mind that Mikal Bridges is going to be fine. Mikal Bridges is a professional athlete, obviously, but more than that, he's a very intelligent professional athlete, and he's someone that has seemingly. I remember even reading, stories about him when he was at Villanova, and like he was such a thoughtful guy about his career, what his career was going to be and his role and how it would grow and all that sort of stuff. So the notion that like Mikal Bridges put the time and the thought into changing his shot, and us yahoos sitting at home are going to sit and question that's the part that I can't co-sign with. Like, for you kids out there was a golfer by the name of Tiger Woods, who used to be pretty good, and when he was at the peak of his powers, decided to like completely alter his swing. Quite literally, he was the most popular athlete in the world, certainly the most successful athlete in the world, and he decided to make some pretty significant swing changes, and a lot of people thought he was nuts. Well, turns out he knew what he was talking about. The issue, and to go back to the Tiger analogy, I could say is that there is an adjustment period. And I remember the adjustment period with Tiger Woods, and it seems as if what we are in right now with Mikal Bridges is an adjustment period. I thought he had some shots before tonight that looked pretty good throughout the preseason, whether they made or whether they went in or didn't. Tonight, like some of those looks were like, that's doesn't look like the way you'd ideally want it to look. And again, 0 for 10 is 0 for 10. Again, I have no doubt he's going to figure it out. The question is when. And what are the repercussions for any adjustment period that we are going to have to go through with Bridges as he figures out the shot? Is this going to be a thing that takes him, I don't know, several weeks, months into the regular season? Because the Knicks as currently constructed are a team that, like, our biggest concern is that their best players stay healthy, which, by the way, we should probably mention Precious Achiuwa left this game with, I don't know what it was. He appeared to strain something going up for a dunk. Hopefully he's okay. I don't really want to say anything about that until we get maybe some word from Tibbs about, actually, no, Tibbs isn't going to say anything. So why would I wait on Tibbs? Hopefully Precious Achiuwa is all right because they need him. But in regards to Bridges, him along with all the starters, the expectation is that if they are healthy, they will play well. No one is accounting for any of those guys suddenly forgetting how to do the things that got them to this point, give or take a Josh Hart stretch where maybe he's a little out of it. So if Bridges' shot is going to be, a work in progress for a little bit, that's an issue. And I don't want to sit here and try to guesstimate. Might it cost them regular season wins? At the end of the day, I'm again choosing not to make a big deal out of this, because if he thinks that it is for the betterment of his long-term career, then as someone who certainly plans on watching him in a Knicks uniform for the foreseeable future, certainly through his prime, I'm all for Mikal Bridges doing something that he feels is in his best interest long-term. But the notion that, the Knicks might not suffer a little bit in the interim and just, we have to at least acknowledge that. And I am acknowledging that. I am not, firing flares from the rooftop. Again, this is I'm not worried about Mikal Bridges. He's not a young player. He's not someone who doesn't have a track record. One way or another, he will figure this out. Again, it's just a matter of when. So that's all I'm going to say on the Bridges thing, even though I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of comments about it. And I'm not really going to have much more to say about it, but that's what it is. Okay. Let's talk about the interesting part, or at least the interesting part to me, which is the rotations. And I was looking for tonight for this to be, and I spoke to James Edwards earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, whatever it was. I don't know. It was earlier this week. And I asked him, what do you think we're going to see on Friday night? He said, I think we're going to see a true dress rehearsal. Now, certainly did not turn out to be that. Yes, thank you, Andrew. I remembered. It did not turn out to be a true dress rehearsal. Just look at who was on the floor in the second half, and certainly to end the game. And also the fact that Deuce McBride was a healthy scratch, which before the game, right before the game, we heard he was going to be out. Didn't know, was it because he was sick or something else? So it's all right, that's interesting. And then when they said in the game that he was a healthy scratch, I was like, huh. And I found it very interesting that when Tibbs went to the bench, he again went with Mikal Bridges, which we have seen this a little bit, but this was we saw this a little bit on Tuesday against the Hornets. He did it even more tonight, where it was Mikal plus the bench. I think at the very least we have an answer to one question, which is that is Tibbs still going to run 9 men? I would argue the answer to that question is yes. Is the starter is there going to be times where there's only one starter on the floor with 4 bench players? I would argue the answer is going to be yes. And is it going to be Mikal Bridges based on what we've seen so far? I would argue it's going to be yes. So we've gotten some questions answered. Now back to the Deuce thing. So Deuce healthy scratch. In that first half, as you would expect, Campaign and Precious Achiuwa were the first two subs in the game with no Deuce. And then at the same time, Tyler Kolek and Jericho Sims both check in. I don't think it is completely crazy to assume or to guess that maybe those two guys were getting Tibbs' first crack at Landry Shamet's rotation spot. And we should say, I should have said at the top of the show, we got what seems to be some positive news on Shamet. The Knicks released a very vague release in terms of he'll be, reevaluated at a later time. His shoulder was dislocated, but Ian Begley then had a report shortly thereafter saying internally the Knicks are optimistic that Shamet will not need surgery, coupled with the fact that it is very clear that they're, by their actions or by how they release that news and the fact that they have obviously certainly not done anything. It seems like, I shouldn't say it's very clear. It sure seems like they're going to hang on to Shamet into the season, and they are going to weather the storm, and they are just going to deal with him not being out for a while. But he's not going to be able to play for a bit. So who gets that rotation spot? And again, I don't think it's nuts to think that Tibbs was given Kolek and Sims a chance to compete for that spot. Now, the counter to that is, well, why would he be giving two players who could not be more different a chance to compete for one rotation shot? One is a 6'1" or 6'2", whatever he is, point guard. And the other is who is a whiz in a lot of ways offensively, but, is going to have some defensive challenges. And the other guy is a center who is like, I compared Jericho Sims to a ham sandwich in today's Knicks Film School newsletter. Watching him at times tonight, I wondered if I was being kind. Like, he seems like just incredibly meat and potatoes at this point. And if you were looking for signs that Jericho Sims had maybe taken a leak over the summer, we've heard about how this was his first healthy summer in a while. I just don't think you've seen anything along those lines. So why would he be having these two players who play two very different positions and obviously are as different as two NBA players can be compete for the same rotation spot? I don't really have a great answer to that question. And if you're going to say, well, that debunks that theory, I can't really say anything. But like, I look at Kolek and then I look at Shamet, and it was very clear Shamet was going to get that spot. Whether it was going to be, still Mikal Bridges as the starter alongside the three guards and Precious, that leaves you very small. Would maybe Tibbs have looked in a different direction if Shamet didn't get injured to get some more size? Would it have maybe been Cat along with Precious and the three guard? I don't know, but Shamet was getting that spot, and Shamet ain't that big. So the notion that they're just going to put Kolek in place of Shamet, I don't think is that crazy. And then where Sims is concerned, I think the simple answer is like, look, if Kolek isn't ready, then maybe we just go with the guy with it, which again, like, we know what he is. He's a big guy who knows how to kind of do the very, very, very basics of a drop big, and of a rolling big man at this level, even if it is, uninspiring is putting it kindly. But then when neither of them played particularly well, and I know Kolek had some nice moments at the end there when he made those two shots to give the Knicks 2 1-point leads when they were going back and forth in the final minutes. When neither Kolek or Sims played particularly well, then something really freaking interesting happened, which is that Pacome Dadier checked in. And he checked in for Kolek. And he played for a while. And there was even a period of time where Dadier played with Jalen Brunson, and Campaign was still out there, and with Karl-Anthony Towns, and with OG Anunoby. And I didn't write down exactly how many minutes it was, but it was long enough to think that, okay, Thibodeau wants to get a look at this. Thibodeau wants to get a look at how this kid looks surrounded by real NBA talent. And after it was so for a hot minute, it was actually Payne, Kolek, Bridges, Achiuwa, and Cat had checked back in. That unit didn't look good at all. then brought Brunson in, brought Daddier in, brought OG in, then all of a sudden things start to spice up a little bit. And, we saw Brunson hit Daddier on a nice cut. We saw Daddier hit nailing above the break three. Like, he looked the part of a big NBA wing who could shoot and move well on offense, certainly. And he doesn't move all that bad on defense either. And the fact that he gave them that opportunity, and the fact that Daddier seemed to run with that opportunity and play pretty well there in that first half, makes me wonder if this is not currently a three-man competition for that ninth rotation spot, and whether or not Daddier has a real chance to win this thing by the time we get to Tuesday. I don't know. A lot of people are going to say, well, what about Ariel Hukporti? I was expecting maybe to see a little bit more of Hukporti tonight. Obviously, we did see him towards the end, but that was when he started going to like the end of the bench. The fact that we didn't see him until then makes me think Hukporti is probably out of that race, at least right now. And although, again, if Precious is out, I mean, who the hell knows? I hope Precious is fine. I'm waiting. We'll have to wait until probably this weekend to hear, on that. No update from Tibbs on Achua, unsurprisingly. Okay. And TJ Warren. I sat here 3 nights ago, and I was like, well, if I had to place my bet right now on who's going to get not only the 14th roster spot, but the 9th rotation spot, I'll go TJ Warren. That was when we were thinking that the Shaman injury might be more serious. He might need surgery and the whole thing. Obviously, that's not the case. And sure enough, tonight, TJ Warren didn't get in until very late in the game after Achua left with the injury, because they can't afford to keep him if they're going to keep Shamet. There's no room under the second apron to have his second vet minimum contract. So if Shamet stays, Warren goes. It's just, that's the math. There's no way around it unless they're going to go ahead and trade, like Jericho Sims into some team's cap space or something like, and then they're not going to do that. So yeah, I thought, that's the big positive from tonight. It's really the only positive from tonight, is how Daddier looked. Scored another cut in the second half from Kolek. That was pretty, very pretty. And yeah, and now it's on to Boston, where, again, did not end the preseason on an inspiring note. I think this is going to be one of those nights. And yes, I'm including the Mikal Bridges shooting performance that we're probably going to look back on and laugh about in the not too distant future, even though I'm sure it'll have some people a little nervous. I think this team just wants to go ahead and start the season. Let's see what this team is. Let's see what they could do. Let's see what they're made of. I'll tell you one thing. Jalen Brunson's ready to go. And for all of the hemming and hawing and uncertainty about this, that, and the other thing, if that guy's ready to go, I like our chances. So that is all from me. We are going to transition to a quick emphasis on quick. We're doing these a little quicker now, from our friends at BetUS. If you are looking for a new book this basketball season, BetUS has your answer. Fastest payouts in the industry. Use YouTube promo code YouTube150 to receive 150% deposit on your first deposit, as well as 125% deposit on your next 2 deposits, up to $2,000. Fast and easy deposit withdrawal process, 24/7 personalized service, live wagering on all games, best betting variety in the biz, 10% back on your net losses twice a year. You can get your own personal account manager. And of course, you could check out my BetUS link in the description below. So we are going to look very quickly at some MVP odds. You can see Jalen Brunson is there at plus 1,400. I think, there are some other bets on the board, which are certainly enticing. The favorite, Luka Doncic, at plus, I think he's at plus 350 there. SGA should certainly be in consideration. Anthony Edwards and our friend Brunson. Lots of good bets on the board. You could, of course, again, make those bets with BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 to receive 150% bonus on your first deposit, as well as 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. Remember, Gambling involves risk. Please only gamble with funds that you can afford to lose. All forms of betting carry financial risk, and it is down to the individual to make bets with or without the assistance of the information provided. Okay. Oh, yes. One more very, very important announcement. We've talked about it on the pod, and now we have a flyer to go with what we have talked about, which anybody watching on YouTube can see. Our season opening watch party. Yes, we are kicking it off against the Celtics on Tuesday, and we at Knicks Film School are kicking it off at T Squared Social. That is at 7 East 42nd Street. It is literally a stone's throw away from Grand Central Station. The entire KFS crew will be there. 100% free admission. You don't have to pay a dime to get in. You will probably, though, wind up leaving with some swag because I'm going to announce this now, but I'm more teasing it. I'm teasing it right now. We're going to have a more formal announcement to come. We have found, and I really can't hide my excitement about this, a beverage company to partner up with Knicks Film School for this season. They are called Juan Please. It is a tequila cocktail, tequila, lemonade, and tea. Again, I'm holding off on saying too much right now, but we are doing this event in partnership with them. We will be doing more events in partnership with them, and we will be having a lot of fun with Juan Please on this very show in the days, weeks, and months to come. So stay tuned for more about Juan Please, and that is that. Let's get to the super chats, which I wonder how many happy super chats we're going to have. What percent? Probably about the same percentage as Mikal shot from deep tonight. Okay. Starting us off. I saw it flashed. There we go. Danny Gardner. Concerned about Bridges' 3-point shot. It does not look fluid at all. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Listen, it's hard not to be concerned about the shot as of right now. There's no like any even the most calm, rational person, and I consider myself fairly calm and rational, like watching how it looked, didn't look great. But again, this is like to think that this is going to mean that this is going to be a terrible trade and he's gonna, not be the same player. I just can't get there. Can I not get there? I can't even get close to there. So yeah. Thanks, Danny. Debro. Cat and Mikal need to find their shots. I haven't mentioned Cat. I'll get to him. Defense should never feel comfortable doubling Jalen Brunson with either of them one pass away. That's the entire point. Not only them, OG Anunoby as well. Congrats to all the Yankee fans. OG Anunoby as well, and that's honestly why there's still a lot of people who think that Deuce McBride should be starting in place of Josh Hart. The concept that anywhere you turn, any shooter that you sag off of, they could punish you. Cat, I mean, I'm not worried. Cat, first of all, his shot looks fine to me. I know he was 0-5 tonight. That makes him 4 of 23 for the preseason. It's not ideal. His to talk about a track record that is kind of beyond reproach. Cat's gonna be fine. Again, and I think he's gonna be fine right away. I wouldn't be surprised if he hit 5 threes against Boston. Mikal's the one where maybe there's going to be a little bit of a process. Thanks, Debro. JM, what's going on, JM? I feel like this Precious injury may change how they handle Shamet. Interesting. I had not considered this. Let's talk about it. To me, cutting Shamet and bringing back Morris makes more sense now. Let's see what the injury is. If Precious Achiuwa is day to day, I don't think it changes anything. Like maybe he misses the Boston game, maybe he misses the Pacers game, maybe he even misses 1 or 2 more games. I mean, well, let's just play this out. Let's play this out. Actually, no, here's the problem. All right. So if it's what I just said, and we're talking about a few games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever games, and you waive Shamet and you sign Marcus Morris, you have signed Marcus Morris to whatever the contract is. Now, I guess if you don't fully guarantee it until a certain time, Well, yeah, I guess you could essentially treat it like it's a 10-day contract more or less, and you could waive him right off the bat, right? Like, you could wait out Precious coming back, then well, in that case, I get now I'm teasing this out. Then you would probably want to keep Morris if he's actually playing for you. But the problem then is if Shamit, I don't know how good the relationship is with Shamit. I don't know what the deal is. Like, is he just going to sit around and wait for that whole situation to play itself out? And then when he's ready to play, like, might another team pick him up in the interim? Now, you might say, well, if another team picks him up, another team picks him up. It's not like whatever shit happens. I think the way that Tibbs has spoken about him and the way they are treating this now, I think they consider him a fairly important part of their team. So I don't know if they want to risk Shamit going somewhere else, even if they have to deal with handful of games, couple of games where they're really shorthanded. Now, if you're sitting here and telling me that Precious Achiuwa is going to be out for 2 months, might that change something? Yeah, that might change something. Although, I mean, are we 100% sure that Marcus Morris would be better for that? Like, here's the thing that I wonder about. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this and we don't even know what the injury is yet, but it's interesting to me. Like, they do have a lot of flexibility in the ways that they could deploy the bench minutes. Like, let's just say for argument's sake, so you're going to, you have Cat at 34 minutes a game. And obviously this all depends on the starters being healthy. So if you feel like you could get 12 to 14 good minutes a game or passable minutes a game out of Sims or Huckporty, then do you need Morris? Because in that scenario, like, again, OG's going to play his minutes. So then the minutes OG doesn't play, are you a little small? Yeah, you're a little small. You probably have Mikal out there for that time playing essentially the 4 alongside what I guess at that point would be, whichever of Dadier or Kolek, right, wins that spot, and then Payne and Deuce. I don't know. Would that be the end of the, like, are we sure that it's that important to have Morris? Like, that having Morris would make things that much better than the scenario that I just laid out? I'm not sure. So I don't know. I guess I would just, at this point, even with the uncertainty of the Precious injury, I would be very surprised if they waived Shamit. But the fact that we had to go through that thought process, I might not be, I might be wrong. Obviously, you might be right, Jay. But it certainly makes it more complicated. I'll give you that. Thanks, man. All right, next up, Freeway Hustler 21. What's going on? It's games like that I think Tibbs will play Mitch and Cat for extended minutes for defense and rebounding. Question is who sits if that front line finishes the game. I will. How bold do I want to get here? I just don't think that's why they went and traded for Karl-Anthony Towns, to play significant minutes / end of game minutes on the floor with Mitchell Robinson. It defeats the entire purpose of not the entire purpose. It defeats so much of the purpose of having him on the offensive end. And I understand that there are two ends of the court. What you saw tonight from a team that did not give two shits about what they were doing on defense, not two, not one, not three, like none. It was an empty toilet. They didn't give any. They were constipated. That's what we should call the Knicks effort tonight. It was an effort of constipation because they had no shits to give. to draw any conclusions from that, I think is unwise. Now, is that to say that there might not be scenarios where you are going to want to play Cat alongside a true big? Yeah, but I'm not drawing that conclusion from tonight, A, and B, I just think one way or another, they are going to figure out a way to get Karl-Anthony Towns as the only big man on the floor at the end of games, because that's, I believe when they made this trade, they telegraphed to the rest of the league, we believe that is our best opportunity to win a championship. Thanks for Elsa. Kevin Danishevsky, hello, sir. How are you? Well, that wasn't pretty. No, it was not. Beginning to get somewhat concerned about Bridges' shot, but I also trust his process. Look at me. Look at you and me. What's the Paul Rudd? Look at us. Yeah. Trust the process. There you go. Most important, JB looks awesome. And Dadier. Yeah. I'm a little irrationally excited about Dadier. When Dadier came in the first half and then actually looked pretty good, I was like, whoa. Like he's, what is he, 6'8"? You know, he pulled down at least one rebound that I remember. I'll look up what his final stat line was. And he just looked good. He looks like at no point in time, other than where he had that drive in the fourth quarter where he looked like he couldn't decide if he wanted to try to dunk it or do a finger roll or try to float it, and it just was like a bad miss with like an open lane. Other than that, like he just looks, there's no part of him that looks overmatched or overwhelmed or any of that. We are going to a game 5 of the WNBA finals. Should be a good one. So yeah, I'm impressed by Dadier. I want to see more. Would it be could you imagine if we had Picome Dadier, like non-garbage time Picome Dadier minutes in opening night in Boston? That's like, it's not insane to think that that's a possibility, which is freaking wild to me. Thanks, Kev. I hate Mikal's new jump shot. Why change it? I don't know. I'm not a professional athlete. I don't advise professional athletes. I don't work with professional athletes. And I certainly have never met or dealt with one on any regular basis that has the track record of Mikal Bridges. And so, like, you always hear me saying when people complain about Tibbs, I'm like, you know, the guy deserves the benefit of the doubt to a certain extent. Now, that could go too far. It's the same thing with players. They deserve the benefit of the doubt. If he felt that it was in his best long-term interest to adjust the release point on his shot, I'm not going to question it. I'm just not. Not yet. If we're sitting here in March and he's shooting 32% from 3, it's a different conversation, you know, but I'm going to give him a lot of leeway in the meantime. A lot of leeway. Thanks, Hush. Ryan Huang, what's going on, Ryan? The defense looked a bit concerning with miscommunication, losing people off ball, and Cat exposed on deep drop. I wonder if they have a different scheme in waiting for Boston. Also, man, Kolek needs to play. It's funny you say that. I was not impressed by Tyler Kolek tonight. Like, he did some nice things there towards the end in the fourth quarter against a bunch of guys, to quote Major League, who are going to be bagging groceries in a few weeks. I actually thought this was his least impressive game of the preseason. For me, maybe if I go back and rewatch, I would see some different stuff, but I didn't come away that impressed. As far as the miscommunication and the deep drop with Cat, look, Cat's going to play and drop, and I'm not too concerned about that. I mean, if the defender, as long as the point of attack defender can like do his job to prevent the ball handler from pulling up with a wide open shot from 3 by like going around the pick and forcing the ball handler to go and dribble into a mid-range shot, like the Knicks are going to give up long 2s. It's going to happen. A lot of teams do it. It's just something you got to concede in the NBA today. I'm more concerned about, and I saw this on several possessions tonight, Cat just like not knowing the right route. It seemed from my untrained eye, and I have not obviously watched the tape, as Tibbs would say, a second or a third time. It seemed like there were some possessions where he either didn't know where to be or just didn't care to be where he was supposed to be. Yeah, that stuff's a little concerning. I'm not too bothered because, again, these guys were playing at, like, I don't know what speed it was. It's not anywhere in the same universe as the speed they're going to be playing against the Celtics. And like once the regular season starts, and this defense is just a different animal when you turn up OG and Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart like all the way up. So I'm like, the defense is gonna be a concern. I'm not any more concerned about it than I was before tonight's game. Thanks, Ryan. Kev with another one. What's going on again, Kev? I know we're panicked about Mikal and the defense in general look bad. Preseason effort from Hart, but OG looks amazing. All defense ready. Best wing defender. Yeah. Not only Hart. Like OG lost someone off ball. Bridges lost someone off ball. Like everybody made. Like I just talked about Cat. Like everybody made mistakes tonight. They were not locked in. It's just as simple as that. They weren't locked in. Anunoby, like the things he's able to do on the ball and the way he's able to move around screens, like I don't know if the trade's going to work out. Emmanuel quickly could turn into a 8-time All-Star for all we know. RJ Barrett could become, the leading scorer in Raptors history. Anunoby can just be always hurt and not and be an albatross contract because of how much he signed for. But no one will ever be able to talk me out of the vision of that trade. From day one, the vision of that trade was apparent. To be able to put that level of defender in the same lineup as Jalen Brunson, who you need to buttress with like the best and most versatile defenders in the sport. They went out and got the most versatile, or one of the 2 or 3 most versatile defenders in the sport. I would argue he's the most versatile, but that's me. Other than Wembanyama, who is going to rewrite record books. Thanks, Kev. And Kev with another one. Kev, you're on fire tonight. One thing of note: Cat, Mikal are still hitting free throws. Yeah, I thought that was funny tonight when Cat went up to shoot the free throws for the Tech, I think it was, or free throw for the Tech. It was a 3-second or something. Yeah, I noticed Mikal's free throws with the same high release point. I think it's probably something, and like we've seen him like from 2-point range. We've seen him hit some mid-rangers that look fine in this preseason. I just, it's an adjustment. It's an adjustment. It's just a matter of time and how long is it going to take and how well will the Knicks be able to weather that storm. And I understand, as will surprise nobody, my response tonight is not the talk radio response, but that ship sailed a long time ago. Thanks, Kev. Charlie Boy third. What's going on, Charlie Boy? Hey, John, can't wait for the season to start. Neither can I, and neither can the Knicks. With Achua possibly being hurt, I don't even think Tibbs knows what he's going to do with the bench. I'm intrigued by Dottie. I would love to see him get minutes, but I'm not holding my breath. I really don't want Achua to be hurt. Like, needless to say, I think Achua. I think Deuce is the 6th man. You could argue to me that Campaign is the 7th man. I think Tibbs has fallen head over heels for Campaign. And the fact that he once again, wait, let me make sure I don't misspeak before I say this. Yeah. once again played him with Jalen Brunson. Tells me all I need to know. Like, he likes that dude. Honestly, I mean, he there's a verve to him. There's he plays at a really nice pace. He shoots it confidently. I understand he did not shoot it particularly well tonight. He shot it very poorly tonight, actually. I don't know what his preseason numbers. I'm assuming they're probably in the low 30s in terms of percentages and percent of his threes. I like what happens when he dribbles inside the three-point arc. I think he has a nice touch around the rim on mid-rangers. He delivers passes on point. Doesn't make bad passes. Doesn't make silly passes. We talked about in the last game. He's a pain in the ass, no pun intended, on defense. I know your question wasn't about pain, but I'm just like, I'm trying to like talk myself maybe out of, if Precious is hurt, like how massive is that? How massive is that? And I like Precious. Precious is good. So, like, the notion that they could just remove a good player from their rotation, like Shamet, when Shamet got hurt, and the fact that Shamet is hurt, I'm not like that's not ideal. Like, Shamet makes them better. Like, even if Dadier is at what we see, but like Shamet's 3-point shooting is just, teams fear that so much. They always are gonna honor that. They're always gonna have a guy out there on Shamet, no matter where he is, and when he flies around and he's taking threes, and pulling defenders and unnerving defenders. Like, that's valuable. So they're going to miss Shamet. They'll miss Precious if he's out. I think they could weather. I think they could weather that storm. I mean, you want to know the honest answer? And this is, again, something I don't know that a lot of people are going to want to hear. Probably means the starters are just going to play a little bit more. And that is a slippery slope in October, we'll see. I honestly, I hope that's not the case. I would really love if we did like opening night in Boston. It'd be really nice if we didn't see anybody, the 40-minute game. But we'll see what happens. All right. I noticed that James Edwards III, new beat reporter for The Athletic, just tweeted out a audio file of Mikal Bridges talking about his shooting form and his journey with it in the NBA. I'm thinking, before we get out of here, I know we only have like one or two more super chats left. Kevin, I'm going to attempt to play the audio on my mic, and hopefully people could hear it. Let's get the next super chat up, and then after that, I'll play it. Nicole Taylor, what's going on, Nicole? Excited about the starters' free throw percentage to finish games. Thoughts? I hadn't thought about that, honestly. Brunson's an 80% guy. Bridges is an 80% guy. Cat's a high 80s% guy. Actually, I think Bridges might be high 80s too. OG, let's see how close I could get to the mark. I'm going to guess OG Anunoby for his career. I could be really off on this. I'm going to guess he's a 74% free throw shooter. Let's see how close I got. How close did I get? 70, maybe a little higher. Let's see. OG Anunoby for his career. Hey, look at me. 74.5. How you doing? Blind squirrel finds his nut. And Josh Hart's a little lower. I feel like Josh Hart's probably lower 70s. If I would guess 72. Let's see here. But either way, your point is a good one. Like, that's like the fact that nobody is out there is going to be below a 70% free throw shooter. Oh, I undersold Hart. That's a bad job by me. 74% also for Josh Hart. Yeah, it's great. And like, the way this offense should continue to put defenses in compromising positions, having to react at the last minute. Like, oh shoot, like we just bent our defense to cover for Brunson, going unfettered down the lane because we got someone covering Cat, and now, someone's darting over. Oh wait, Brunson passes it to this guy rolling or cutting or whatever. well, shit, we're, and it's a foul. Like, yeah, it's really encouraging. I thought this team, they weren't an elite free foul drawing team last year. I think, I don't know if I would say they can be elite this year. I don't know that they have enough elite foul drawers. Is that a word? But they'll be very good, and yeah, I think they'll hit their free throws. That's a good point, Nicole. I appreciate it. All right, Kev, let me know when's we got this one. Okay, so John Leary, what's going on, John? Starters looked a bit off. Yeah, again, they're ready to go. That's my take. You may disagree. That's my take. How long we looking for Precious? I have no idea. I wish I had an answer for you. I hope. I hope it's nothing. I hope he's back on Tuesday. Until I hear otherwise, I'm gonna choose to be positive. If good to go, does Dadier take Shamit's spot in the rotation? I can't do Sims. I'm sorry. Thanks. I don't listen, man. I'm not gonna blame anybody for having Sims frustrations. It's uninspiring right now. And you got Huck Porty sitting right there, who is not lighting the world on fire, but looks worth a look. So yeah, Dadier, man, if trying to think if I want to place my chip right now. Do I want to say Dadier is the 9th guy on opening night? Assuming Precious could go. I mean, if Precious can't go, I think it's going to be Sims for Precious. But Dadier could still play. I think it is. I think he's going to go with Dadier. Really, I really do. Maybe 5 minutes, but I think it's going to be Dadier. We'll see. Okay. All right. Next up, or is that okay? So I'm going to play the audio now. Here we go. I hope this works. Oh, hold on. Ready?
Is this the same way you've been shooting? Ever since I got to the league, kind of been, I've been trying to fix it back normal since I've been in college. So it's just been 7 years of just every day. So does it not feel like it's normal or natural? Like what are you I guess you're trying to fix? No, just when I came out of college, it's just I kind of tweaked it a little bit. And then my second year in the league, had the hitch, and then try to build back from that ever since. So just trying to get it right. Pretty much that's it. What did you change this year? Just trying to figure out just back to how I was in college. That's pretty much it.
Interesting. I think the last thing he said at the end there. Did he say figuring out back to how I was in college? I thought that's what he said. Hold on. I got to go back to that because I think that's what he ended with. Hold on. One more time here.
Just trying to figure out just back to how I was in college. That's pretty much it.
I think he said trying to figure out back to how I was in college. Yeah, that's what he said. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. I tell you this, he sounds like a guy who's, he used the words figuring it out. He's not putting words in his mouth. He used the words figuring it out. So look, it'll be a process. I'm again not sounding the alarm bells, not yet. Not for a while. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's going to figure it out. He's a smart player and he cares a lot about winning. And at the end of the day, he will get it right. I'm confident that he will get it right. So, Kev, unless we have anything else, do we have anything else? No. Okay, here we go. Thank you for tuning in. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel here at Knicks Film School. We just passed. Congratulations to Andrew Claudio. He's the one who's done it since day one. We passed 18,000 subscribers to this YouTube channel. We'd love to get to 20K by the end of the year, maybe even higher. So subscribe if you're watching this right now and you're not subscribed. Subscribe. If you're listening to the podcast feed, help us out there with a 5-star rating or review. Don't forget T-Squared Social Tuesday night watch party for the Boston game. Things will be kicking off at 6:00. We'll be getting there early. I'll be doing trivia. be doing stuff for social that we're gonna put out. There'll be giveaways, lots of good fun stuff coming up for the watch party. And then in terms of episodes of the show, we got our usual annual crossover with Locked On Knicks, where we'll be getting on, me and Jeremy, with Alex and Gavin, recording that tomorrow morning. We'll be making 3 predictions, which I should probably think of before tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. About this upcoming Knicks season. So check out that. And yeah, that's I just found out a few hours ago, got a significant guest coming up on Monday. So stay tuned for that. Okay, that's it. Everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Peace out.